Hi everyone, for today's podcast, we will be talking to my daughter Simone about her trip to South Africa. Hopefully, we will get some good information about it. And as I have heard, she really enjoyed her trip over there. And so, here we go. Alright, this is an interview with my daughter Simone. Lately, she has gone to South Africa. And I'm so excited to interview her. All right, Simone, thank you for sitting down with me for this interview. My first question is, what was the preparation like for you, considering the post-pandemic environment at the airport and planes? Are there any requirements that are still needed?
Concerning the pandemic, there aren't really many requirements anymore, like mask-wise. You don't really need a mask anymore to go places because people just assume that you're all vaccinated.
Well,
but
yeah.
You do need to show your vaccination card, and you do need to show it's 72 hours actually for South Africa. You need to have a negative result for your COVID test. For South Africa, but if you don't have it, they allow having a vaccination card, but you should have a negative COVID test from 72 hours.
So if you don't have it, for example, if you don't, you will be fined or anything like that if you don't have it? Okay.
If you don't have your test, then they'll just take your vaccine card, but it'll just, they get annoyed with you. That's what happened.
Well, yeah.
They're just like, okay, we'll just take your vaccine card. But if you don't have either of those, they won't let you. They won't let you go.
So, did you have to use an app or something?
No.
Okay, so you just have to go through the airlines.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my next question is, how long was the trip? And what did you do to help your body with the time adjustment?
Okay, so the trip, I haven't actually counted the actual days, but I was there from June 23rd to July 7th. I guess that makes it 14, 15 days, the whole trip. 2 weeks. It was a pretty, it's the longest trip that I've been on.
Yeah, we went to Europe. It was just less than 2 weeks. Yeah.
So this was the longest trip that I've been on.
From here, and then you guys went to Amsterdam, right?
So it was from Atlanta to Amsterdam, which was I think a 9-hour flight, and then Amsterdam down to Cape Town, which was an 11-hour flight. So that was 20 hours in all, plus layovers.
Yeah.
It was like a whole day of just flying.
But then you didn't really felt it because you just hit the road running kind of thing when you guys reached the Cape Town, right?
No, it was nighttime when we got to Cape Town. When we got there, we were immediately okay, go to bed. Because the very next day we had a lot of stuff planned, so they were go to bed. And I guess what I did to adjust, I didn't really do this on purpose, but I adjusted pretty quickly to South African time because I don't usually sleep on flights. It's just I can't really stay asleep, so I just don't really try.
Yeah.
What I did was I stayed awake for the entirety of both of those flights, and we left around maybe 4-ish. No. We got, our flight was at 4, but we got to the airport around 12. So I stayed awake from 12 to, I guess, the 24 hours that we were flying for. And then it was 10 when we reached Cape Town. Well, 10 Cape Town time. So I didn't sleep, so I was able to go to sleep immediately. And then I just adjusted to it in one day. So
okay. Yeah. My third question, what was your first impression of South Africa? I know South Africa is so big, but what came to your mind when you landed and then when you kind of saw the first day of where you were?
Their airport is very clean. It's
in Cape Town.
I was joking about it when we came back from South Africa the Atlanta airport is the ugliest airport that we went to. Like the Amsterdam airport is so
Oh yeah,
amazing.
but
South
Atlanta's
Africa,
so big though. Like it's too large.
The South Africa airport I really liked. It was very cute.
Was it small, big, what?
No,
Medium?
it was like decent size. It was a good airport. Not as big as the Amsterdam airport, but like it was like medium, I guess. It was decently sized. And I didn't really see much the first day that we went. Like we drove for like maybe an hour-ish to get to our hostel. But from what I saw when we first landed, my first impression was like, wow, these lights are really yellow. I'm pretty sure in the US we have a lot of like LEDs or something like that. So our lights are very white and very bright. But in places like Europe or Africa, they use like the more yellow yellow light. Which I love because warm tone lights are like my favorite. So it was very pretty, very yellow. And I saw a few houses while we were passing by. We passed by a township, and that was my first time actually seeing a township. I was like, wow. It was really cool to see. And like another thing that I figured out was that it was very cold because it was
winter there.
Yeah, I knew before going that it was winter. Really is winter. But it definitely heats up during the day though.
So just for purpose of our audience understanding of some words, township, what is a township?
It's a town but not really recognized by the government, I guess.
Is it kind of smaller than a town?
Yes, it's like it's I guess the size of like an American neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that's their township. There are a whole bunch of different townships, usually like right off the highway. They have names, like townships have names, like Langa. That's the only township that I remember the name of, but it's very small, compact, because the houses are built right next to each other. And from being raised in like a suburban area, you wouldn't really call them houses. You'd call them shacks.
Yeah.
Because they built them themselves. Like it wasn't made by construction company or whatever. Like they made them themselves.
And a lot of them are like metals and stuff.
Yeah, they take like metals and blankets and like windows, and they just build their houses like. And it's very small. It's like the size of like maybe one room, you know. In a township like Langa, the people are very happy there. They don't want to leave. It's a close-knit community. Everyone's nice there. Even to like newcomers, they're just like, hello. They're very nice. So yeah.
My next question is, it's not really a question, but it's kind of like walk me through the places you have visited and what was your impression of all of them?
That's going to be a lot.
Let's do like 2 or 3.
Okay, so the first was Cape Town. So it's the capital. It was very...
It's like a big city.
Yeah, it's a big city. It kind of reminded me of... I don't really know how to explain it. It's like... It reminded me of just like a European city. Everything was walkable. Well... if you ask my tour guide, they were not walkable. We had to take Ubers everywhere because they were like, I am not letting anyone get robbed on this trip.
Oh, okay.
So we took Ubers everywhere. So just to be safe, just take Ubers around Cape Town.
Yeah, so that means it's still walkable. It's just that
you have to be safe.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of restaurants. Each were really close to each other. You could walk anywhere. You're surrounded by mountains. It's just a really, really nice view everywhere. I liked Cape Town. I think it was my favorite. There's just so much stuff to do in Cape Town. So much stuff. I never got tired of it. I went to a place called Hansby.
It's famous, right?
I wouldn't say famous, but
like
it's
nature kind of thing.
No. It's for shark diving.
Okay.
We stayed with this company called White Shark Diving Company. We stayed at a house, and it was right next to the beach. There were a lot of beaches, and we did shark diving there. It was different from Cape Town because it's like a smaller town, but things were walkable, and it wasn't as extravagant as Cape Town. It was just like a regular city. The coffee shops there, amazing. Just South African coffee, the best I've ever had. Yeah, that was Hansby. If you're ever in Hansby, go shark diving, because that is an experience. Just don't go in winter, because it was very cold. And I guess the third place that I went to is this place called Gondwana Reserve. That was a whole different experience. Like, it's just open fields. You stay in either a hut or a lodge. We stayed in huts. It's like the perfect like couple place. The beds are like king size beds. I stayed by myself, and I would not have it any other way. So
Tell us about the one time an elephant came by your hut.
yeah, so it's a nature preserve. They have lions, wildebeests, rhinos, hippos, elephants. They have them all just wandering around. There are no fences to block off the huts, though they're gonna add those later on because it's an accident waiting to happen. The elephants like to come near the pool, which is right in front of the huts, and drink the water. And they like to walk around the huts. And 2 of them came by my hut right outside to say hi to me because they like to mess with people. And you're not allowed to walk by yourself at sundown because it's
an
dangerous.
accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's dangerous because lions
are everywhere.
Lions can come to your hut, but that's not really a very big concern. They stay away generally from the huts, but it could happen. But I wouldn't let that scare you away from the place.
Yeah.
It's really an amazing place. We went on safaris every day, 2 safaris every day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon until sundown.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, and this is a 5-star hotel too, right?
yeah, 5-star
Reserve, yeah.
We were treated very nice, and the food there was amazing too.
All right. So, Simone, my next question is, if possible, would you like to live there or take another longer vacation there? If yes, what place would it be?
I wouldn't live there, but I would definitely take a long vacation there because coming from the US, $1 is like around 16 Rand, which is their currency. So it was very refreshing to eat out, have this amazing meal, and it only be like $12. So everything is well priced there.
Yeah.
So it's a very easy place to vacation to, as long as you're careful about it.
Yeah, you can splurge. That's what you're saying.
Okay, there are 2 big things about South Africa. Do not drink the tap water. Just don't drink the tap water. The other thing is that as of right now, there are regular blackouts that the government issues at least two to 3 times a day around the same times because they're trying to conserve energy.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's what they say.
My last question for you is, overall, what did the trip impress on you? Coming from the U.S. and being raised here in the U.S., what was the difference and the similarities that it had over there and here?
I'd say how friendly people are over there. They're more friendly in a genuine way than in the US because the way that we're friendly is like, that's how you show manners and you're expected to do that. But in South Africa, you're not exactly expected to act nice to people, but you do it because you're a nice person. People are just very kind there, not very judgmental. The stares that I got there, because my hair is like half blonde and the other half is like black, and I got a lot of compliments, but I also got a lot of stares. But most of the stares were foreigners. They weren't actually from South Africa. They just like look at me. They're very non-judgmental. They're very friendly there. So I guess that impressed me. I was expecting people to like not even look in my direction, but it surprised me. Another thing that I didn't really think about was the money. I was like, oh, this is a nice change. I would definitely visit again. Definitely Cape Town. Cape Town I loved. People were very friendly there and the food was amazing.
Okay, thank you so much for talking to me about this, and I know that in the future that you are going to travel again. I don't know where, but I just know. Thank you, Simone.
You're welcome.